The old pickup truck looked so worn that people barely noticed it anymore, except on that bright Tuesday morning. Before this incredible story continues, please take a moment to like this video, comment below, share it with your friends, and subscribe to Heart of Kindness if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of treating every person with respect regardless of their appearance. Your support helps these meaningful stories reach more people around the world. Elias Carter had spent the last 7 years raising his 8-year-old daughter, Nora, completely on his own. Ever since his wife passed away after a sudden illness, every morning began before sunrise. He prepared breakfast, packed school lunches, braided Nora's hair after watching countless online tutorials, and drove the old truck that had carried his family through both joyful memories and heartbreaking losses. The truck was old enough to attract judgment everywhere it went, but to Elias it represented survival. It had delivered furniture, transported construction equipment, hauled supplies for neighbors after storms, and never once failed him when his daughter needed him most. While others saw rust, Elias saw sacrifice. Few people knew that before tragedy changed his life, Elias had been one of the most respected systems architects in the country. He had quietly helped develop a revolutionary cybersecurity framework years earlier before walking away from corporate life to care for his sick wife. Instead of chasing promotions and stock options, he chose hospital rooms, family dinners, and precious moments that money could never replace. After her passing, he disappeared from the business world completely. The board members of one particular company, however, never forgot his name because much of their company's early success rested on technology he had designed long before they became industry leaders. That same company was now led by 38-year-old CEO Victoria Ashford. Brilliant, ambitious, and admired by financial magazines, Victoria believed speed was the secret to leadership. She demanded perfection, rewarded efficiency, and rarely slowed down long enough to learn people's stories. Her company was preparing for the biggest merger in its history, but hidden inside their computer systems was a security flaw that no one on the executive team could solve. The board had spent weeks searching for the one expert who originally designed the architecture years earlier. After an exhausting search, they finally located Elias and convinced him to attend a confidential meeting. Unfortunately, Victoria had been traveling overseas and never received his photograph or background information before returning that morning. Elias arrived 20 minutes early because being late had never been acceptable to him. He parked in the closest empty space, not realizing it was reserved for executive vehicles. He remained inside the truck reviewing old technical notes while waiting for the receptionist to call him. At exactly that moment Victoria walked outside with several senior managers. She noticed the weathered truck occupying her reserved parking space and immediately assumed someone had ignored company policy. Without asking security to identify the driver or checking the visitor schedule, she ordered the truck removed. Her words were calm but firm, and the tow company, already working nearby, responded almost immediately. Employees gathered near the entrance, quietly recording the scene with their phones. Some smiled, expecting another embarrassing moment for an ordinary visitor. Elias stepped out of the truck carrying nothing more than a weathered leather notebook and politely explained that he believed he had been invited for a meeting. Before he could finish, security insisted he move away from the vehicle while paperwork was processed. He never argued. Years of hardship had taught him that anger rarely changed anyone's opinion. Inside the headquarters, the chairman of the board, Harold Bennett, looked through the lobby windows and suddenly froze. His face turned pale as he recognized Elias standing beside the tow truck. Every board member immediately rushed outside, ignoring confused employees and startled executives. Their expressions completely changed the atmosphere. Instead of allowing the tow truck to continue, they ordered it to stop immediately. They apologized repeatedly, not because of Elias's reputation alone, but because they understood something Victoria did not. Without Elias, the company faced a catastrophic cyber vulnerability that could destroy the merger and cost thousands of employees their jobs. Victoria stood speechless as she watched the board chairman personally shake Elias's hand with genuine respect. The executives surrounding her had never seen Harold show such humility toward anyone. She finally realized the man she had judged by his truck was the very person every board member had been desperately hoping to meet. Elias quietly assured everyone that mistakes happened. He asked the tow driver to continue his work elsewhere because he held no anger toward anyone. His calm response made the surrounding silence even heavier. The employees who had laughed moments earlier lowered their eyes in embarrassment. They expected revenge or public humiliation, but kindness was the only thing Elias offered. During the meeting, Elias carefully explained the dangerous flaw hidden inside the company's infrastructure. Years earlier, he had intentionally created a protected emergency pathway that allowed trusted engineers to restore damaged systems during disasters. Over time, multiple software updates had unintentionally weakened that safeguard until it became a serious security risk. Competitors had unknowingly come within weeks of discovering it. The merger could have collapsed overnight. Rather than criticizing the engineering team, Elias spent hours patiently teaching younger developers how to repair the system permanently. He answered every question with respect and encouraged nervous engineers who feared losing their jobs. Instead of making himself appear indispensable, he focused on helping others become stronger. His leadership was completely different from the pressure-driven culture that had quietly spread throughout the company. Victoria watched every interaction with growing discomfort. She had spent years believing authority came from confidence and quick decisions. Yet this quiet father earned more respect in one afternoon through patience than she had gained through countless executive speeches. She began remembering the expression on his face when security surrounded his truck. There had been disappointment, but not pride. Pain, but not resentment. Later that afternoon she asked to see the truck before it left. The tow company had returned it untouched after the board intervened. Looking inside, she noticed a child's backpack, neatly folded drawings, a lunch container, and a small handwritten note taped to the dashboard. It simply read, "Good luck today, Dad. I know Mom would be proud of you. Love, Nora." Those few words carried more weight than any business award displayed inside the executive offices. Victoria quietly learned about Elias's life from Harold. She discovered how he had declined enormous salaries to remain beside his wife during her illness, how he volunteered free technical support for local schools, and how he repaired neighbors' computers without charging families who struggled financially. Success had never changed him because love had always mattered more than recognition. The following morning, instead of announcing record profits at the scheduled company meeting, Victoria gathered every employee in the bright daytime courtyard. She spoke honestly about her greatest leadership failure. She admitted she had judged someone based entirely on appearances and nearly pushed away the very person capable of protecting their future. She explained that titles meant nothing if kindness disappeared from the workplace. The apology surprised everyone because corporate leaders rarely admitted mistakes so openly. Inspired by Elias, the company introduced new programs supporting working parents, expanded scholarships for employees' children, created volunteer opportunities throughout the community, and established a policy requiring every visitor to be treated with dignity before assumptions were made. The culture slowly transformed from one driven only by performance into one balanced with compassion. Elias declined every executive position offered to him. Instead, he accepted a flexible advisory role allowing him to remain present for Nora's school events, science fairs, and bedtime stories. For him, no boardroom victory could replace watching his daughter smile from the front row of a school assembly. Months later the merger succeeded beyond expectations. Financial reporters praised brilliant strategy, but employees quietly knew the company's greatest achievement had not been measured in dollars. It had been measured in humility, forgiveness, and one simple decision by a single father who refused to answer disrespect with bitterness. Special request: before the ending, please comment, "Kindness always sees what pride cannot." Your words may inspire someone reading the comments to choose compassion over judgment today. As the sun set on another ordinary day, Elias picked Nora up from school in the same old truck. It still carried scratches, faded paint, and years of hard work, but now it also carried a reminder that true worth can never be measured by appearances. Somewhere behind the glass walls of a billion-dollar headquarters, a CEO had learned that leadership begins with humility, a board had rediscovered the value of character, and an entire company had changed because one quiet father chose grace over revenge. Sometimes the greatest victories are not won through power or wealth but through simple acts of kindness that remind the world every person deserves to be seen before they are judged. That is the kind of legacy no tow truck, no title, and no amount of money could ever take away.